As Sicil and Sebastian stepped into the office, the usual hum of activity surrounded them. Sebastian made his way to his desk and immediately noticed a neatly placed folder. Upon opening it, he finds a copy of the catering menu sent by Ethan. The document was precise and detailed, a testament to Ethan's professionalism. Sebastian skimmed through it, noting how Ethan had also proposed sending a tasting platter by the afternoon, provided confirmation was given by 9:30. Punctual and thorough, Sebastian murmured, an admiring tone sneaking into his voice. He leaned back in his chair, glancing at Sicil, who had been waiting for his decision. "I'll confirm this," Sebastian decided, then looked at Sicil. "Would you mind letting Ethan know?" Sicil nodded, a soft smile playing on her lips. "Of course." As she turned to leave, she couldn't help but admire how composed and professional Sebastian was. Despite their personal entanglements, he handled work with precision and a sense of fairness. Inspired, she resolved to mirror his professionalism for the sake of their shared responsibilities. By afternoon, Ethan arrived at the office with his usual charm, carrying himself with a blend of confidence and humility. He'd been directed to lay out the tasting banquet in one of the conference rooms. After setting up the spread to perfection, Anna, Mr. Wilson's secretary, approached him with a polite smile. "Mr. Turner, Mr. Wilson has asked you to join him in his office when you're done. He'd like to introduce you to the team." Ethan nodded, grateful for the opportunity. On his way to Sebastian's office, he passed at the clear glass and paused momentarily. Inside, he saw Sicil and Sebastian standing at a whiteboard, brainstorming with their colleagues. Their dynamic energy filled the room as they exchanged ideas, bantered light-heartedly, and scribbled notes. Ethan's chest tightened as he observed how naturally they worked together. Their rapport was undeniable, two halves of a whole, moving in sync as if they'd been partners for years. He pushed the thought aside and continued to Sebastian's office. When Ethan entered, Sebastian rose from his chair and greeted him warmly, his tone carrying a professional respect that instantly commanded the room's attention. Sebastian stepped aside to let Ethan take the spotlight. "Everyone," Sebastian began, his voice clear and confident, "I'd like to introduce Ethan, the chef and mastermind behind the incredible menu you'll be tasting shortly. But let me tell you, his work goes far beyond crafting delicious food." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle as he glanced at Ethan with an approving nod. Ethan's restaurant is not just about flavor, it's about values. He's built a business model that focuses on sustainability, eco-conscious practices, and, something I deeply admire, a commitment to ethical sourcing. Every ingredient on the menu has a story, and every story starts with the farmers he partners with directly. Sebastian's eyes scanned the room, drawing everyone in. Unlike many in the industry who rely on large distributors, Ethan has chosen to go straight to the source. He works with local farmers, ensuring not only the freshest ingredients but also fair pay. He believes in a supply chain that's transparent and equitable, giving back to the communities that make our meals possible. Ethan nodded humbly, his hands clasped in front of him as Sebastian continued. "And it's not just about the ingredients," Sebastian added. "Ethan's strategy ensures that the farmers he works with are supported in growing their businesses sustainably. It's about more than profit. It's about mutual respect and creating a system where everyone wins. That's not an easy path in today's market, but it's the right one." The room murmured with approval, the admiration clearly visible. Several colleagues exchanged impressed glances, nodding in acknowledgement of the integrity behind Ethan's work. "Thank you, Sebastian," Ethan interjected with a polite smile, his voice steady but modest. "I appreciate the kind words. For me, it's always been about the people behind the produce. Every dish tells their story, of hard work, resilience, and dedication to their craft. I hope you'll enjoy what I've prepared today, not just for the taste, but for what it represents." The sincerity in Ethan's tone struck a chord, and the room broke into quiet applause. It wasn't just a menu they were about to taste. It was an experience rooted in purpose and authenticity. Sebastian smiled, the corners of his mouth lifting just enough to hint at genuine admiration. "Let's head to the conference room," he said, gesturing toward the door, "and taste the results of this incredible effort." The group made their way to the conference room, where the banquet Ethan had meticulously prepared was laid out like a work of art. Vibrant dishes filled the table. The aroma of fresh herbs and spices wafted through the room, drawing appreciative murmurs from everyone as they approached. "Wow!" one of the team members, Maria, exclaimed, leaning in to examine a platter of roasted vegetables glistening with a light glaze. "This looks almost too good to eat." Ethan smiled warmly, stepping forward. "Thank you. Everything you see here is sourced from local farms. The vegetables come from a cooperative just outside the city. They practice regenerative farming, which helps replenish the soil with every harvest." "That's incredible," said another colleague, Andrew, who was already snapping a photo of the spread. "I didn't even know regenerative farming was a thing. It's nice to know good food can come with good practices." Sebastian, standing near Sicil, gestured toward a dish at the center of the table. "What's this one, Ethan?" "That's a slow-cooked lamb with a honey mustard glaze," Ethan explained. "The lamb is from a family-run farm. They've been raising livestock for generations, and I've worked with them to ensure their operations are both humane and sustainable. The honey is from a local beekeeper. They use natural methods to support pollination." "Impressive," Maria said, loading a small portion onto her plate. "I feel like I'm tasting an ecosystem, not just a meal." As the group began tasting, the room filled with the sound of appreciative hums and comments. "This risotto is incredible," Andrew said. "You can taste the freshness." "That's because the asparagus was harvested less than 48 hours ago," Ethan replied. "The farmers work quickly to get their produce to us, and I make sure they're compensated fairly for that effort." Sebastian, who had been sampling the dishes, nodded in approval. "This is excellent, Ethan. You've outdone yourself. The flavors are balanced, the presentation is impeccable, and most importantly, the story behind each dish makes it even more meaningful." Ethan smiled, his humility shining through. "Thank you, Sebastian. It means a lot coming from you. I'm just glad everyone is enjoying it." Sicil stood quietly at Sebastian's side, her gaze shifting between the two men. She noticed the professional yet polite dynamic between them. Sebastian's commanding presence and way of drawing attention to Ethan's work elevated the moment, while Ethan's warm, grounded demeanor added a layer of authenticity. As the tasting wrapped up, Sebastian turned to Ethan. "I think it's safe to say you've secured the booking. This menu will be a highlight of the event." Ethan extended his hand, his smile genuine. "Thank you, Sebastian. I'll ensure everything is flawless on the day." The group slowly dispersed, leaving only Sicil, Sebastian, and Ethan in the room. For a moment, Sicil lingered, her eyes flitting between the two men. In one frame, they stood side by side. Sebastian, with his sharp suit and quiet confidence, and Ethan with his rolled-up sleeves and easy, approachable charm. "It's good to see two professionals working so well together," Sicil finally said, breaking the silence, though her voice was tinged with an emotion she couldn't quite place. Ethan glanced at her with a warm smile. "When you've got a good team and clear communication, everything falls into place." Sebastian added with a faint smile, "And when the team involves someone as dedicated as Ethan, it's hard to go wrong." The two men exchanged polite nods, and Sicil felt her heart twist. Seeing them like this, respectful, professional, and united in purpose, made her inner conflict sharper. She admired them both for different reasons, and knew her feelings were as tangled as ever. As the three of them exited the room, Sicil silently resolved that she couldn't keep her emotions hidden from Ethan much longer. He deserved to know the truth about how she felt, even if she wasn't sure how to articulate the storm of emotions inside her. For now, she resolved to take that step toward honesty, no matter the cost.